As you all probably know, Kevin Durant was able to return for Game 5 and unfortunately had to leave the game after re-injuring his right leg. In this video, we're going to get right to it and break down kind of my initial reaction, what happened on that play. Obviously, the fear and concern about a possible Achilles injury are certainly making that calf strain much, much worse. As always, go subscribe if you guys like this type of content and want to stay up to date for future videos, and let's get to it. Now, at the time I'm recording this, I haven't seen any official word yet come out from the Warriors about what his diagnosis is or what his status is, and so if we find out that by the time this gets uploaded, I'll fill it in the description, but forgive me for not having it in this video. Let's get right to the footage and explain what might have happened on this play and what could be going on with this worse injury. Pulling up the play here, we see him start to drive in with his left hand. Remember, it's his right leg that was injured, and I think it's probably right here where he's pushing off on that right leg where he re-injured it. That extreme amount of dorsiflexion under load where he's trying to push off and accelerate with that right foot puts a ton of stress on the Achilles and on the calf muscle. He was still able to take off and kind of plant that right foot, but he didn't really exert much load on the calf or the Achilles when he planted that foot, just given the neutral position of it. But then right away, of course, he held up. He didn't want to put any weight on that foot. Key difference here, if you remember back at his original calf strain, when he came off the court, he was grabbing much higher up on his leg, implying more in the calf muscle or the gastrocnemius muscle belly. But as we saw here, this time he's sitting on the court, he's grabbing much, much lower down, closer to his Achilles tendon, raising the concern for an Achilles injury. One interesting thing, we saw him actually point the foot downward or plantar flex, and that's the motion that your calf muscles and your Achilles complex are doing. It's pointing the toes down. I wondered at first, is this just that he's relaxing his foot and it's falling down? But it looks like he is actually actively trying to activate those muscles and push it down. If you've got a complete rupture of your Achilles tendon, it's gonna be really, really hard to do this. And you're also gonna have a really hard time bearing weight and walking on it, like we saw him doing on the way back to the locker room. Now in the locker room, they've got the tools to determine right away if he's got a complete Achilles rupture, and they can also probably get a good sense of if this is the Achilles versus the calf. There's something called the Thompson test where you lay on your stomach with your leg hanging off the edge and then squeeze the muscle belly of the calf to see if that Achilles complex is completely intact. If you get movement in the ankle, that means the Achilles tendon is still intact, but if there's no movement, that means it's ruptured. But even with just a basic ultrasound machine, you can tell right away if that Achilles is still intact or if it's been completely ruptured. I respect the heck out of him for trying to come back and be a competitor and really support his team, but this is why there's so much stress and anxiety with team physicians and medical staff with whether or not a player can return. Because yes, sometimes they come back and they do really well and there's no issues, but sometimes this happens. And this is why, as medical providers, it's really hard and we really have to stress about these situations. I'm not saying I told you so. I'm just explaining the nature of the situation that makes it really hard for these medical teams and the players to know what the best thing to do is in these circumstances. Either way though, you guys don't need me to tell you that this looks really severe. The way he acted, the mechanism of injury, of course my concern would be a damage to his Achilles tendon. It didn't look like it would be completely ruptured just based on the way that he was acting on the court and able to sort of put some weight on it coming off the court. But certainly this is something that could have huge ramifications on the rest of his health this upcoming offseason and in future years. Like I said though, if we get updates by the time I publish this, I'll try to include that in the comments below so you guys can have a sense of what the official word is. But I hope for his sake this is not a really severe Achilles injury and just more the calf. Even if it is the calf though, this could be a much more prolonged recovery, and sometimes these injuries even require surgery if it's a severe enough calf strain. Thanks as always though for watching. Let me know questions, comments below, thoughts you guys have about this whole situation. And until next time, thanks for watching and we'll see you later. Bye.